Hello and welcome. You're watching the business news here on France 24. In this edition, 4 international banks indicted in Milan in connection with the bankruptcy of Italian dairy empire Parmalat back in 2003. Britain's Barclays Bank melts plans to sweeten its offer to acquire Dutch rival ABN AMRO. And I will be joined by a young French entrepreneur who will tell us about the growing role of music in marketing and advertising. New developments in one of Europe's largest financial scandals in recent years. An Italian judge today ordered 4 international banks with worldwide recognition to stand trial on charges related to the collapse of food company Parmalat. Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, UBS and Deutsche Bank are accused of stock market manipulation in the meltdown of the Italian dairy empire. The Parmalat scandal erupted in December 2003 with the connection of a €14 billion shortfall in the company's statements. Time to look back at this whole affair.
Europe's Enron. In December 2005, the Parmalat trial opened in Milan. The Parmalat empire, a prestigious group specialised in dairy products, collapsed with the discovery of a €14 billion shortfall in company accounts. In the dock, the group's founder, Callisto Tanzi, as well as 15 executives and 2 auditing firms, all of them accused of participating in the web of complicated financial dealings that drove the company to bankruptcy. The scandal erupted in 2003 when an investigation revealed that the group had been on the brink of collapse for years, but had managed to put off its fall through false accounting practices. 135,000 European savers were left out of pocket in the process. The Parmalat affair became a landmark case, shaking the world of Italian finance and tarnishing prestigious names in world banking and accounting. Wednesday, 4 international banks were ordered to stand trial in a new stage of the legal proceedings. America's Citigroup and Morgan Stanley, Swiss UBS and German Deutsche Bank. All accused of having known the company was insolvent, the banks are thought to have gone ahead with the organisation of bond issues taken up by small savers. The opening trial date has been set to January 22, 2008.
A banking dispute which has held up North Korean nuclear disarmament is nearing resolution. The foreign minister of neighbouring South Korea today announced that the release of Pyongyang's funds held at the Macau bank should be released this week. North Korea has refused to act on a February pledge to start dismantling its nuclear program until it receives the $25 million that have been frozen in Macau. The United States have accused the bank of complicity in money laundering by the Pyongyang regime, but recently Washington gave its blessing for the funds to be returned. Barclays Bank is considering improving its offer for Dutch rival ABN AMRO, according to media reports. In order to fend off a rival bid from a consortium of banks led by Royal Bank of Scotland, Barclays could reduce the number of shares it would issue for ABN and replace them with cash. The prospect of Barclays swinging its bid could upset its main shareholders, some of who already expressed concern over the British bank's plans in the past few weeks. And joining me now is Charles-Edouard de Surville, the founder of an advertising agency which specializes in marketing jingles and audio strategy. Well, thank you for joining us here on France 24, Charles-Edouard. Your company, Get Sound, took part in last year's advertising blitz surrounding the liberalization of directory of inquiries. Charles-Edouard, could you tell us just how 2 months after its creation you managed for your company to gain a foothold in this lucrative marketing business?
First, because there was a great need for the company to find a solution to the problem of how the number could be memorized as quickly as possible by the clients. And second, I think because we had a good proposition, which was hard to sell, but it was very simple. And the concept was to make the melody as simple as possible, so it would be as easy to remember.
Well, precisely. Let's hear your jingle. So that was decisive in the decision from France Télécom to give you the business and the contract for the campaign.
That's not exactly the how it happened. You saw here a lot of different versions of the music, and that's what we told them was important for them, is to give multiple example of the same melody, so the people will feel emotion hearing the music, because it would be always different. and that's the innovation we try to put into the market, is to say you don't have to hear always the same thing. People can recognize a slight evolution, and therefore be less aggressed by repetitive music. I'm sure that all the people looking at the show tonight have some jingles in their heads that they say, "Oh, I'd like not to have it in the air." That's why we think of that.
More generally, what's the impact of musical jingles in brand marketing today?
Today, jingles are difficult to measure in terms of impact, except for this market, which was very specific. But music is like all the advertising sector, something that you cannot easily measure in terms, because you're dealing with emotions. But sometimes when it happens, you can actually tell that it's because of the music. And in this case, we have results from a study that we know now that the jingles was a good part of the success of the this number.
The strategy and the number. Would you say that this is something new in France, or have we seen something like this in previous years?
The concept is not new. It's the way to deal with it and to have a rational approach about it. And that's how we position towards the market. Is to say you have not a musician or in his room, home studio, but you have an agency with a production studio, and then can deliver in time and can have a rational vision of your business needs.
And would you say that France is lagging behind in terms of marketing proposals and new types of marketing businesses?
I think yes. France is somehow behind countries like England, for example, or the States, or even Germany,
which are more innovative.
They are more innovative, and they are more keen to try new way to communicate with their clients. And that's why we want to go also towards those markets now.
As a young entrepreneur, what do you think of Nicolas Sarkozy's proposals to exempt overtime from taxes and social charges?
As far as I'm concerned, as my company is concerned, I don't think we'll have any effect actually on our business. We will be much more interested in having help to secure new salaries, and then have people working more is something we can do already.
And what other proposals that emerged during the campaign are deemed interesting to you?
One proposal was to defiscalize all and reduce charges.
So exempt from charges and taxes.
One or two new salaries within a company, for a new company. And this is for sure something that will help bring growth to a company, because you do not hire people once you have the jobs. You have to hire people before you have the new jobs to create the offer. Our market is an offer market, so it goes the other way around. Well,
thank you very much for joining us here on France 24. Charles-Édouard de Surville will be following Get Sound this summer in Versailles, because I think you have a special show, Sound and Light, Son et Lumière.
Exactly. During all summer, we'll be in Versailles at night times with the fountains.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here on France 24.
You're welcome.
Well, that's all for now. For more business news, please log on to our website. That's www.france24.com. Stay with us on France 24.